All right, ladies and dudes, it's this guy, the guy with new blue glasses here, coming to you from the underground. I just wanted to give a little intro to this video that you're getting ready to watch. I did an interview, and I love doing interviews with a guy named George from togetherforsharon.com. He's also got an Instagram and Facebook of the same name. And his mom passed away with Parkinson's disease or from Parkinson's disease. And so he doesn't have it, but what he's done is he's set up a whole page, a whole network really of people showcasing their stories with PD and hopes to one day get a cure in our lifetime and just to raise awareness of the disease. So he's a really engaging guy. I think you'll enjoy the interview. And as you know, I love talking. I love talking about myself even more. So stay tuned. Hope you like it. Peace and love from the underground.
Welcome everyone back to another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son George. I was my mother's caregiver when she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Unfortunately, she passed on 1/1/2020, but we started together for Sharon.com in her memory. Today's guest is someone who I actually wrote a word today I was thinking about, but it's really excitement. I was really excited when we met about a year ago, but just excited as to seeing him grow every day. And I love what he does, and I'm so grateful for his time and friendship. So I just want to welcome Jeremy to the show, and I know he's going to make me laugh too. And all of you listen.
Holy crap! What an intro, bro.
I knew you were going to do that. I do
You
want
know,
to, yeah,
you know what? You were mentioning before we started about my background. Just want to start with that.
perfect. I love it. I mean, I actually had the honor to meet Mr. Michael J. Fox several months ago at a comic event. But as a young child, I lived for that stuff, the sports cards, the autographs. Unfortunately, when we moved and I grew up, all of it turned yellow. That's my fault. But I do admire and watch and appreciate movies and all the things that are behind you because it kind of allows us to still be kids, but also take our mind off the tougher times, including some days maybe you could talk about, Parkinson's, even for a small moment. So if you could kind of just start us out with a little bit about yourself and please incorporate the background.
Okay, well, in case you can't tell, I'm a huge movie and TV fan. I started collecting DVDs. Is pretty much. I remember my first DVD was the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks. I'm sure you've seen that one. Wilson, Wilson.
You have
Yeah,
the ball? You have the
yeah,
ball
the
back?
volleyball. Yeah. So it just grew from there, and of course, I was a huge Star Wars fan. So you can see Boba Fett right there, and there's all kinds of. If I were to turn this around, you would probably have to change your pants. It's so exciting.
I also like your shirt. Is that Jurassic Park or am I wrong?
Yes, it is.
Uh,
It's probably one of my favorite movies of all time. Seen it more times than I can possibly count.
my
Uh,
wife loves it too, and I know they're making another one. I mean, I love the first two, but now they're getting to number 7 or 8. It's getting a little overboard.
I mean, the first two. I mean, the first one, of course, is gold. Second one, it's pretty good. It gets a little out of control at the end, but I love every second of it. I'm not going to lie. But I found out I had Parkinson's when my son was 8 months old. So I knew something had been wrong for quite a while. And I could go to the movies all I want. It wouldn't go away. I remember sitting in the movie theater and my hand would go numb. And they thought it was MS and it was a long journey. Uh, but he's now 12, and my wife is able to work at a good job, and I'm on disability now. But I love life. I love movies. I love music. I used to play in a band. I can't do that anymore, but I still got some old tracks that I put out. In fact, one of the first things on my YouTube channel was my music, even before Parkinson. So, yeah, I think I'm a pretty interesting guy. I mean, I've been told I'm weird, strange, a little odd, but I consider all those things compliments, George.
I agree. I don't think you're weird. And if you are, I'm joining right by your side because I love, again, all you do. And I think that it's incredible because you not just inspire me, but also seeing your excitement for these things like the shows and things really opens up a world for other people who might be kind of feeling alone and maybe just need that entertainment or even, your show or just Boba Fett to try and forget the day because he was my favorite character too. So.
Yeah, in fact, I got a little Boba Fett section over here with his.
Wow.
I'm gonna little Star Wars trivia. Do you know what his ship was called?
Oh God! I mean, I know the Millennium Falcon, but you
No, the
I
Boba Fett
watched
ship was called the Slave One. There you go.
I
There's some
wouldn't
Star Wars
remember.
trivia.
We watched the whole first few seasons of Disney Plus of it, but I am a big fan of the star. Who the person behind the mask,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah. The guy, the Latin guy, the Hispanic guy. Yeah, he's a great. I love that. It's actually a good show. I mean, I heard some people kind of poo pooing Baby Yoda, but I'm like, no, I love just feed me a whole bowl of Baby Yoda Cheerios. I'll eat it all day long.
Well, if I had a room like that, mine would be covered in Game of Thrones. So that's one that I cannot.
Oh,
I think I've watched it 11 times, literally the first series. The new one, I'm not as a big a fan, but we did watch. But there's nothing like Game of Thrones for me.
the red wedding scene blew
Uh,
my. If I had hair, it would have fallen. It would have fallen out.
It's funny you say that because if every time I go to a wedding now, I'm kind of concerned. So I
Yeah,
don't even know if I'm
checking the exits and stuff.
yeah. But I wanted to also now kind of shift a little to, you were mentioning, and I'm sorry again, we send our love to you and the whole family because I can't say I know what you're going through in your journey, but we can say, through my mother what we went through. And I know every journey is different, but I do feel bonded for life to the community because of what we've gone through. Maybe you could talk about a little bit, your first reaction to the diagnosis. I know you said you were in the theater, but what is it like to finally, I know you said also you struggled a little with the diagnosis. I'm kind of concerned in society even today about misdiagnosis, about late diagnosis. Any advice for those listening?
Well, the first thing you got to do, just from my perspective, is take a deep breath because I actually got to tell you, I was relieved when I found out it was PD because I thought it was ALS or something much more. I mean, not that Parkinson's isn't serious. Trust me, I know it's serious. But as a father of a young son, I wanted to know that I had some years ahead of me to pursue life and enjoy things. So it was relief was the first thing, but then they say there's a honeymoon period. I don't I didn't have any honeymoon period. It was I went back to work for a couple of years, so I got the dyskinesia in my legs. My wiggly legs got so bad I couldn't even walk, which is my biggest struggle right now. Um, but I would just, for people newly diagnosed, take it from somebody who's been there and going on almost 12 years. Take it one day at a time. Take a deep breath because you think you know what it's going to be, but you don't. I mean, everybody is so different. That's one of the things that I strive to incorporate in my channels. Like, you probably will not have my issues. You may have other issues. You're going to have serious issues, but my path won't be your path. You have to find your own path, and just don't try to live a decade in the future. Live today. And I know that sounds so simple, but you got to. If you can't enjoy today, you won't be able to enjoy tomorrow.
I appreciate and love that. And one thing I know it's tough, but maybe you could talk about how others can stay healthy and also how, I mean, I talk to you and look at you and it looks like you're loving life, which I hope you are, but I know they do say sometime, it's my mother was frustrated because she knew I believed her, but she had more internal tremors until towards the end when she did have external. So she got frustrated sometimes because she didn't think people believed her. And there are people out there I've interviewed who look beautiful and look great, but you don't really, you can't judge that with Parkinson. You don't really know what the individual is going through. So maybe you could touch a little bit on, how do you stay healthy? How do you keep so kind of that great smile and the beautiful glasses that were just airing for the first time today?
Yep, these newly came in, so you're getting the preview. Well, here's the thing. You got to exercise. Find what's good for you. Some people love to box. I love to walk. Now that sounds weird because like I'm dyskinetic with my legs, but in the morning, like this morning, I went out and got these glasses. I was able to walk. So, and I can walk for long distances. It's kind of like you wind me up and I'll just go in a straight line for like 2 miles. That may not be you. You may be a boxer. You may want to do bicycling. Find something that gets your heart rate going. I mean, if there's any secret to my success, and I don't know how much success I've had, but it's just staying moving. I do yoga in the morning, just kind of meditate. I'll just lay down, do some poses. Trust me, I'm not going to film those. You don't want to see my yoga poses. I actually had requests. I'm like, no. Yeah, just find something that you love to do, that you can do. And as far as what people think, I mean, that was the hardest thing for me to get over is like when I shake. Like the shaking is easier to deal with in public than the dyskinesia because I think people automatically equate shaking with Parkinson's, where if you're having dyskinesia, they might think it's a seizure or something much more serious. So yeah, I mean, I probably got off track of your questions there, but yes, that's my advice.
No, I appreciate it. And
Oh, I know what I was going to say. Not
sure.
everybody can be as beautiful as me.
Uh, that's important to break through the show and not freak. I love it. My mother did have that. Unfortunately, I remember the curling of the toes was very frustrating because,
Yeah.
you're sitting there and you just want to put socks and shoes and just can't happen that day. And it was frustrating, especially for us. I'm honored that we have togetherforsharon.com and that we don't accept anything at all. Like I will not allow money or anything. I just do it because I want people to never feel alone like I did as a caregiver and my mother did. But there's such an incredible community out there that we weren't aware of that, it's too late for us, but not for so many out there still fighting. I wanted to now turn to something very important that you kind of mentioned, and that's your YouTube. But before that, I do want to thank you, and you might know this young starling, beautiful man.
Who's that guy? Holy crap. That dude's sexy looking.
Well, I have a funny story for you because I wanted to reach out a while ago, and I'm like, I looked at your picture and then looked at this picture. I'm like, this is not Jeremy. Maybe this too Jeremy. And then I spoke to you. I'm like, that's Jeremy. That's you. It's just you had a hat, and but I love this picture with the motorcycle, the badass here. But
That was my pride and joy. It was my Suzuki Boulevard.
beautiful.
It was a beautiful bike. I couldn't afford. I didn't have Harley money, but I put a lot of miles on that bike. In fact, that was a trip with my best friend Adam. You can see the camera around my neck.
Yeah.
And we went to see Jay and Silent Bob, if you know who they are, Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, in Kansas City. And we drove the bike across the state lines, and we almost ran out of gas once. Which I got to tell you, being in the middle of nowhere on a motorcycle without gas would be frightening. But
Imagine
that was my
imagine
clean.
the EV motorcycle. Do they have that yet? That's even more scary.
I don't know. I sold my bike after I started getting the dyskinesia. It was one of the hardest things to do. But I also had a kid. I don't need to die on a motorcycle. That was when I first got diagnosed. There was this weird part of me, and I've never really said this anywhere, but there was this weird part of me that thought, and this is where your brain goes. Maybe it would be better if I died on my motorcycle. Go out in a blaze of glory. But
Well,
I'm glad that didn't happen. But that was my clean shaven face for years. If you see younger pictures of me, I've got long Jesus hair and a Jesus beard. I finally admitted I was going bald, and I shaved my head, and I said, "Screw it, let's just shave my face." But I actually think I look too much like a baby there. I'm not a badass. That dude would run. He would run so fast from a real biker.
I'm glad we're not reenacting Ghost Rider here because I'm glad you're also with us. That's not a
Yes.
scenario that I wanted to hear, especially for your family and your family with me now. So we need you here in this fight. I do
Thank
want
you.
to tell everyone if you go to togetherforsharon.com for free again. Hate having to say it, but it's true. Everyone thinks it's a catch. Hey, wait, for $4.99 you can also. No, there's none of that. So please go to Together for Sharon, click interviews, and you can read a lot more incredible background of Jeremy and also how to reach out. So there's a lot there, but what I do want to get to now, something important, which is not this, this is important, but the Facebook, if you can follow and support Jeremy at Facebook, you'll see here, and I'm following and sharing all the time. But if we have the drum roll, which every show I say, and I tried, but the sound thing is hard, but that's perfect. This is it. So I really want to spend a little time here. And
Roll.
I wanted to know first before you get a chance, I'd like you to talk a little about it, but what inspired you to have a YouTube channel? I'm impressed with the subscribing number. I subscribed today. You can subscribe back to us, but we started something I think you might have heard of, and I actually I hope you don't mind. I put one of your videos today, but I call it Parkinson's, it's the connections. And basically my goal was to have everybody's YouTube on one place completely free, and not to get numbers or subscribers for me, but that everyone will come together and then subscribe to everybody in the Parkinson's community. Because I want to see this say, a million one day. So anyway, maybe you could touch on, what made you wake up one day, and maybe you should have a few shows on, entertainment too, like a Star Wars episode. Do you have that?
Yes. Well, what originally started it, I think the Earl is Jeremy McDonald Music. I had some music I wanted to put out, but I think I can't remember exactly when I started the channel, but I think I had Parkinson's and I was trying to get some of my music out before I couldn't do it anymore. Yeah, it says join 2018. So yeah, I had been diagnosed for 6 years at that point. I started the channel because I wanted to initially. Oh, look at that dude. I was dyeing my mustache there.
I always love playing like you while you're talking about you. So it's fun. Sorry.
I am Jeremy, and I am talking about things right now.
We could do one of these beautiful old school Chinese karate movies if you want.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm kidding.
But I started it because I think a lot of my friends and family I knew had questions, and I think they were afraid to ask. And so that's why I started. I had no idea that I would get anywhere near 1,000 subscribers. There's some good channels right there.
Subscribing to all of them, actually. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's how I started, and it just kind of took off. And then one day I looked at my subscriber account, and I don't do it for that. But one day I looked at my subscriber, and I was like, I think it was at like 500. And I was like, wow, this is going somewhere. Yeah. And so yeah, I was shocked to find out how many people were out there that were. Oh, that's a controversial video. I had to mute the comments on that one. People got a little upset with that, or so not. I mean, upset was the wrong word, but yeah. But yeah, I liked it. And also I like to do things beyond just Parkinson's. I like to talk about, there's me with my walker. That's how I have to get around a lot.
I have a question. How do you reach so many? That's a lot of people. I've seen, like, we don't have many, but it's fine. I don't really do a lot of YouTube, but I'm just curious, even with shows like podcasts, how do you get the reach? Like, you have 1.74K is pretty damn amazing. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I think it's just consistency and tenacity and just being relatable. I mean, that's the one thing I get from people is like that I'm able to, and even my MDS said, you're able to break down a complicated subject and make it sound simple. And to me, I just talk. I've always been a talker. I love talking. That's the one thing that kept me from doing DBS because everybody's got to do their own thing, but I'm just terrified to lose my voice, and that's can be one of the side effects. So yeah, I mean, it was just I started out small, and it's still small, but and I think there's maybe a little bit like of a train wreck factor because you never know. I've had people say they can't wait to see what records I have or what toys I have in the background. So I think there's maybe train wreck is the wrong word, but just like a whole, like it's a little bit of a circus over here. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, you've had some great people. Like I've been trying to get Heather on for years, and also Miss Sullivan, if you ever put in a good word for me. So I think it's great to also have other individuals out there because, again, we all have different journeys, which actually brings me, I think you might be aware of it. You were amazing enough to do the interview with me, and we're finally releasing within the next month, the first book of 200 interviews, trying to offer it on an ebook completely free. I believe you'll definitely be in one of the first. I think you might be, you're going to be, I think, in the first one, but depends on when we met. So I'm excited because now you have that, and I'll make sure, what you're doing, like this YouTube is out there throughout the world, not just in the US. So
thank you so much, George.
I appreciate it. And two other important questions, and then we'll get back to a little bit more about Jeremy. What's been the most troubling aspect for you in the world of dealing with Parkinson's? And also, we kind of mentioned it, but what keeps you motivated to keep fighting? Because again, I think your encouragement and, just talking to you today, your voice too, I love. Mine's not the most exciting, but I think it encourages people. And that's why I think we need the whole world to know about you. And that's why I'm not going to stop, whether people want me to, or don't want me to, or, do more until they know about you. Because I was telling you, I wish I knew about you, 7 years ago when I was going through. I have a feeling if I had given you a call, we would have done, like, we didn't have technology, even a FaceTime with my mom, the three of us would have been laughing a little. And that's all she would have loved because we didn't have that. We were really, I felt so alone. I knew there were things out there, but it was kind of hard because you have to juggle helping mom and then going to doctors and this, and then there's no time. So that's why I did Together for Sharon, and I'm not getting into the website, but I threw all the resources and people here so people don't have to kind of look like scrapping all over. So if you could touch a little bit, and they're tougher topics, but what keeps you motivated and what are the toughest parts? You did mention some of them, but maybe you could follow up.
The dyskinesia in my legs is really bad. I don't even have any tremor in my legs really. When I'm sitting, it's pretty. You can't really tell unless I try to get up, and that's why I've actually had people say, I don't think they would say I look normal because I don't think I looked normal before Parkinson's. I've always been kind of an odd guy, but it's like they don't realize how dysfunctional I am because it's my legs. I mean, even right now, my legs are trying to move, and I'm sitting cross-legged to keep them from moving. That's the most. I mean, I literally I can take 2 or 3 steps, and then it's all. My friend Catherine. Shout out to Catherine. She says I look like a baby giraffe, which is only she could say that. But
I
that's
don't know.
that's the most challenging aspect is the dyskinesia, and it's gotten worse. But I'm still able to function, and I do my videos when I'm less dyskinetic. Obviously, I think maybe people feel like maybe I'm hiding, but I feel like I got to keep some privacy.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Now I wanted to shift a little bit. I mean, this is all important, but now a little fun, I hope. And I love
Oh yeah.
my favorite thing with the first question isn't even your answer, it's just your reaction. And I hope you'll have a good one, but no pressure. But can you list 3 words that describe who you are?
Oh, whoa.
See, I tell you, that's better than the answer.
Let's see. Let's throw in some positive. I'm very creative.
Mhm.
Um, imaginative. Anybody who watches as many movies as I has a imagination. And this one could be good or bad. Stubborn.
Uh, I love it all.
Stubborn in the good way. I mean, I used to be stubborn in the bad ways, but now I'm kind of like just stubborn. I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. So yeah, stubborn, creative, and I forgot what the third one was.
That's all right. How do you think we can achieve even more effective Parkinson's awareness? One thing I believe is by working together like we're doing or sharing other stories or journeys. But what are some maybe secrets or keys that you might think of that we can get, more of your show to the world?
Just talk. I find it's hard for sometimes people with Parkinson's to be entertaining because it's a disease that affects us in ways that can make it self-conscious. But I would say if we can, that's why Michael J. Fox I think has been so successful. I don't know if you've seen his episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's a
Mhm.
great episode. Entertaining. Find a way to make people laugh. If you can make people laugh and smile and feel comfortable, they will come back. And maybe that maybe everybody can't do that, and that's not everybody's calling or whatever. But the highest compliment that people can give me is that I made them laugh.
Well, you make me laugh today and even so thank
Well,
you
awesome.
for that. What is this is a good one? I don't know why I always say that, but I think it's good. And tell me if I'm wrong. But what is one moment or one most memorable moment that stands out through most of your work with awareness so far that you can share?
Well, I don't want to name names here, but I did have somebody contact me, and I don't know if they'll listen to this. They might.
Or we'll make
They
sure we
said
do.
they said that my courage in
Right.
in dealing with the death of my best friend Adam, who died 3 years after I was diagnosed. We were for friends for 30 years. That this person said that I gave them the courage to go out and visit their grandson's memorial out in the woods. It was like a accident out in the woods, and that moved me so much. I'm like, that something I said could translate to somebody tackling. I mean, let's face it, people with Parkinson's, it's hard for us to get around.
Right.
So that the fact that this person wanted, sorry, I gave them courage to go out into the forest and visit their grandson's grave. That really moved me. That's probably the most moving email I've got.
Thank you. And that's an interesting question, not planned, but what do you think the causes of Parkinson's could be? I personally feel it's environment. It's just because my mother didn't have any other issues her whole life. She was only 69, but she had a beautiful home, but for 20 years she had mold and, horrible termites. So who knows what the heck they sprayed now. As we know, we think that could be a cause. And I know most pest people today, companies do not even enter the house. They only do the external part of the house, at least where we are. But I'm curious of your thoughts of, you think it's hereditary, you think it's some other thing? I mean, if you don't want to answer it, also, you never have to answer it.
I feel like it's probably a combination of things. I do have one great uncle on my mother's side that had Parkinson's, but that's a pretty large family over there, and that only one, and he got it when he was old. So why I got it young onset? I was 34. I mean, I would chalk it up. I did a video, but I would chalk it up to pesticides. I worked at a plant nursery when I was like 17 to 19, and I worked exclusively outside. And I think that the herbicide, or I guess the pesticides they sprayed on the plants.
Right.
I mean, I would be eyeballs deep in shrubs and bushes, and so that's kind of what. If I had to guess, that's what it would be. It would be the exposure to pesticides, that coupled with some extreme stress later on in my life. I think it was just a combination of things. That without being knowing, that's just my thought.
Thank you. And the next question is important to me. It's probably the most important. I try in every show, even for a minute, to bring out the people behind the scenes. So the first area, there's two sections of this question, but who helps you during times of struggle? And I was a caregiver. What tips can you give those listening who are caregivers?
Last one first, patience. You got to be patient. I'm sure you know it's a frustrating disease. Like this morning, we were having a little family kerfuffle because my son was being a little insert adjective here, uh, and and um and I was stressed out, and I kind of got stuck in the garage while I was lifting the box, and I just told my wife I'm stuck, and she said, "What can I do?" She didn't rush me or try to because I was putting some stuff in the trash can. Just patience, patience, absolutely patience. And then what was the first part of the question?
Yeah, I mean, this is not easy going through the disease or affects the person, the family, and the community. But I'm wondering who is that person, almost like not to be a joke, but the Wizard of Oz is someone behind the scenes that isn't on the show now that we want to send our love and thanks for all their support for you too.
Well, my wife is incredible. I couldn't do without her, but she's told me I can't be everything you need. I can't relate to you and to your disease all the time. So she encourages me to go in the Parkinson's community. And I don't want to name any names here, but we've mentioned some of the names in the past, like a few minutes ago.
Right.
And if I ever have a issue, I can call these people and they pick up. So you need somebody close to you, and then you need somebody that actually has the disease that may be actually in a different state or a different part of the country. That's my thought.
Thanks. And then,
Because your partner can't possibly meet all your needs
right.
with that.
Yeah. It's also hard. We won't get into it, but when I was caregiving, I was a male, my mother is female, so there's certain things
Yes.
I couldn't do. So it's tough.
Right.
Is there something looking back, 10 years now that you might have done differently, or is everything still the same plan as you, or is there something you might have changed?
That's an excellent question. I've never really thought about that.
No, I appreciate
I think maybe I would have got on an exercise regimen earlier.
Mhm.
I've always been very active. I mean, I used to skateboard. I can still, weirdly enough, get on a skateboard and roll around. I don't because I'm almost 50. I don't want to break my tailbone.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just it's a weird disease, and it's like you have to kind of take it one day at a time. And like I have symptoms now that I didn't have back then. But yeah, I think I would have just started more exercise, more varied exercise. I mean, I've always walked and stuff, but I probably would have started yoga and maybe some strength training a little earlier. I did go to rehab like a physical therapist, but I probably would have like more intensely done it. Maybe done some boxing. I don't know if it would have slowed the progression, but that's probably what I would have done.
Thanks.
I would have started my YouTube channel earlier. Hey,
Oddly enough, my only regret, I have none with my mom, except I wish we had a show with her, but before Parkinson's. So not about Parkinson, but just about life, about her life, my life as a kid. I don't have that, and I never will. So we didn't have the technology. Can't regret
yes.
it. But that was the only thing literally that I wish I could have done. I would have been loved using those clips and laughing now today. I did document the last year of her life, but I don't share it because it was really kind of tragic, and I didn't want her to be remembered for that. But that's the one regret, kind of haunts me a little.
I can only imagine. I will say this: if you want to hear one, if I could recommend one video of mine that's about Parkinson's, but not really, it's called "The Strange Doctor."
Mhm.
I don't know if you saw that one where I go to the disability doctor, and I won't ruin it for you because
Uh-huh.
it's a weird story. If people want to hear little Parkinson's but laugh, I mean, actually, I've had people tell me you should tell this story on stage.
Mhm.
Hand on a Bible, swear to Jeebus, it would really happen. So yeah, yeah. So laughter is, you know what? Laughter is so important. Laugh more.
Yeah, I
Laugh.
appreciate.
Almost knocked my water bottle over here.
Oh, that's all right. This is a good one for you because the movie's behind you. But if you were
Yeah.
asked to write a script to a movie about your life story, what would you call it? We can even put you into one of the Star Wars, but you have to make up a good story. I see True Blood too. We never missed an episode.
Return of the J Mac.
I know it. I love it. You see Dexter? I mean, this is not going to end here, and this afterwards we'll be having a show, I think, in the future on the
Yes.
media.
I've watched the first two seasons of Dexter.
Every time I've talked to someone on these shows, I kind of my brain is going. I'm like, me and you need a show now on meet, like just on entertainment. We could just
Yep.
do like literally, if we reviewed a movie every show. So I know every movie like you, and I don't discriminate. I love every single genre. It's same with music, but movies is something special. So unfortunately, I'm not happy when I might be old school, but the second they stopped the DVDs from Netflix, it broke my heart because I would
Oh
spend
yeah.
what I would do, and maybe you did this, but I would sit on that IMDb, whatever, and I would list any future movies, and every single movie would go in our queue. So my
Nice.
queue would be 400 or 500 movies, but I knew like I would never miss anything, even if it was bad. We would just skip it, but we would get them. So now completely gone. Like I literally lost that part of the love of my life because it's not the same now with all these different, channels and this. I can't find it. Yeah, I love. Well, I worked for the music one. They don't even.
Nice.
That doesn't exist. So I just want to thank you again. I don't know if I have one more question, but before that, is there anything else you wanted to kind of touch on or share? And how can everyone reach you?
I would say the YouTube channel Parkinson's with Jeremy Mack. I do have the Facebook, but honestly, there's been a lot of my friends and family members that have been hacked lately, so I'm kind of not checking the Facebook as much. But my Instagram is Jeremy Mack, MAC, the number 76. So you can look me up on Instagram. That's probably or my email address is jmac JAYMAC podcaster.com podcaster at gmail.com. So yeah, I mean, you can message me through Facebook, but due to that, I mean, there's just been so many scams lately. I kind of been staying off it. So yeah, I would say Instagram, Jeremy Mac 76, and then jmacpodcaster@gmail.com. Those are the best ways to get hold of me.
Thank you. And last question is, if you were if you were going to leave today, the Parkinson's community with some words of encouragement, what would they be?
Keep laughing.
I love that. I
I
mean,
mean, it's hard to do and it's not always funny, but I've always had kind of a gallows sense of humor. Kind of like I've always had like sort of, I find dark things funny. I know it's a surprise with my weird ass, but sorry, can I say the ass S word?
yeah, I'm from Brooklyn, so New York. We talk real talk. We don't edit.
Yeah. So but yeah, humor has got me through some of the worst times of my life. I mean, good humor, bad humor, dirty humor, clean humor. Find something that makes you laugh. Laugh really hard once a day. There's my words.
I really want to thank you. I have a little message for you and everyone listening. We love you. We support you. We care a lot about you, and you're never alone. I, along with Jeremy, will advocate for you, and together I feel our voices are so much stronger. Now we say I'm just getting started because we met a while ago, but we just recently spoke and now we met. That you truly, sir, inspire me, and so many you might not realize. And I'm just honored to call you friend, and also just keep doing what you're doing. But I'm gonna make sure, so if it's the last thing I do, to make sure the world also knows about what you're doing. And again, I'm just really grateful for your time. And we send our love to you, your family, and everyone listening too. And please, everyone, share this. Please support Jeremy. Subscribe. I just did it while we were live. Like, that's the fun part about this. Spontaneous, but I just subscribed everywhere. And he's doing some incredible things. And hopefully someday me and him will have a little show once every few months on the movies. That'll be a lot of fun. And just again, thank you for everything that you do, and please keep fighting.
To quote Ron Burgundy,
I love that
I'm
movie.
kind of a big deal.
That's
Just kidding.
another movie we need to talk
Just
about.
kidding.
Well, thank you again, Jeremy, and thanks everyone for listening. Remember, this topic and this conversation doesn't end here. It might be a little chat, but you have to keep sharing this. You have to keep fighting, and you have to realize that you're never alone. Now, this has been another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son, George, but there's so much more to come. And I think that there's going to be a lot of great things. Like Frank Sinatra said, best is yet to come from Jeremy. So thank you again.
A little Sinatra reference. Awesome.
Yep. I love it. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Again, please share this, and we're sending our love, support to you, your families, and everyone out there. Please be safe, and we love you. Thank you.